Hi, and welcome to this episode of John's Motorcycle Rescue and Review. In today's fun project video, we're going to be servicing the maintenance-free motorcycle. This is also called the Nighthawk S or Nighthawk 700S. It's really the only Nighthawk variant that had any kind of sporting intent to the design, and it's got a lot of cool features that go with that.
These are fantastic motorcycles. I've done a full review video on the Nighthawk 700S, and you can view that by clicking the link above.
In this video, we're going to be doing an oil change on the bike. We'll change the oil and filter in it. We'll also change the fluid in the rear of the bike.
We'll inspect the air filter. We'll check over the charging system. We'll also check over the brakes and the clutch and the lights, as well as the tires and suspension.
This is the same service that I perform on all of my motorcycles when I get them. And I do this to ensure that they are safe to ride. They're safe for me to get out and enjoy and film more content with them. And I also want to make sure that I'm not damaging anything on the bikes by riding them with brakes that could be hanging up or a charging system that's not working. This bike is often referred to as the maintenance-free motorcycle, and I just have to laugh when I hear that, simply because the only maintenance-free item that's on this bike that differentiates it from most other motorcycles is the hydraulically actuated valves, and that means I don't have to go in on a regular basis and check my valve clearances. For a small portion of the population that actually checks things like valve clearances, that's a big deal. For most motorcycle riders who probably have never checked their valve clearances on their motorcycle, that's not really a big deal. The first thing we'll check over quickly is to make sure that the brakes are functioning as they should. This bike has a drum brake in the rear of the bike. That makes it easy to service. On the vintage bikes, we want to make sure that the brakes are releasing as they should. This bike has hydraulic brakes in the front, and so what I want to do is give these brakes a good squeeze, and then I want to roll the bike back and forth. If there's any drag at all, the brakes might need to be rebuilt. Thankfully, on this one, everything seems to function just as it should. Next, I'm going to do the same thing with the brake in the rear of the bike. I will put that on and let that off. I get a nice firm feel there at the pedal, and those release as they should, so I don't have any drag. Thankfully, the brakes on this bike are functioning nicely, and besides changing the fluid in the front brake system, which we'll get to in just a little bit, it doesn't really need further extensive service on the brakes.
To change the fluid in the brake system, I used a siphon to siphon out the old brake fluid from the master cylinder. Once I had cleaned that out, I put fresh brake fluid in the master cylinder, and I proceeded to bleed out the brake system at the calipers. And you just want to keep an eye on the brake fluid level in your master cylinder and make sure it doesn't go low during this process. I use the same tools to replace the fluid in the hydraulic clutch. You can see the clean fluid in the clutch master cylinder here. To bleed that out, you need to access the bleeder. That is located just above the oil fill cap on the lower left side of the engine. And there is a plastic cover that needs to be removed to access the bleeder valve, which is shown in this picture.
The next thing we'll check is the lights on the bike and the horn on the bike.
While investigating why my license plate light was not working, I first checked the bulb. That was good, and so I went looking through my wiring harness and I found a loose connector for the license plate light. I reconnected that, and now the license plate light functions as it should. If you like great motorcycle related videos and you want to help support this channel, please consider becoming a member. Members get perks like early access to new videos and bonus content on this channel, and your support will help me continue to make great quality motorcycling videos for you to enjoy. And I just want to give a special shout out to all of my members and subscribers and those of you who participate in the comment section of this channel. Thank you guys so much. I could not do this without you.
The next thing we'll look at is the tires on the bike. I'm going to look for any uneven wear. These feel very nice. These look to be relatively new. The tread depth on these is about 5/32. That's great. That's where it should be. Also, there is no dry rot on the sidewall of the tires. These look good. I'll also check the valve stem for any dry rot and make sure that that is good to go. Additionally, the front tire pressure on this bike should be 32 psi, which I have already set. While I'm up here, I will look at the brakes on the bike as well. We've already made sure that the brakes themselves aren't hanging up. I don't see any discoloration on the rotors. I've pulled the brake calipers off and measured the brake pad thickness at 4/32 on each side, and that's right where it should be. The next thing we'll check is the front suspension. Look for any oil leaks here or weepage, and these are very, very clean. They're nice and dry, and these look just like they should. Moving to the rear of the bike, we're going to inspect the same items. We're going to look at the tread depth on the tire itself. The tread depth on this rear tire is about 6/32. This is basically a brand new tire. We'll also look at the sidewall and make sure that there's no dry rot on the sidewalls. These look great. I have inspected the valve stems for dry rot. Those look great as well. And I have set the tire pressure in the rear to 40 psi. We've already tested the rear brake. That looks good. While we're here, we'll also look at the rear suspension. We'll check for any oil leaks or any damage that's visible on those. These look great and they function as they should. The next thing we'll inspect is the air filter on the bike. You need a JAS or Phillips head screwdriver to do this. First thing we'll do is remove the seat. There's a lever here. There are 4 screws that hold the air filter in place. They are here, 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 and here. We'll remove those quickly and take a look at the air filter.
Once the cover is removed, you have direct access to the air filter. You can see in this picture that it has a label on the top of it that shows which side should go towards the front of the motorcycle. That's handy when reinstalling it. Although the outside of the air filter looked clean, when I looked down into the air filter where the fresh air comes in, it was very dirty, and so it needed to be replaced. I ordered one of those, and when it came in, I put it in the bike.
The oil drain plug is on the right side of the engine. It takes a 17mm socket to remove it.
There are also 2 smaller frame-mounted drain plugs. These are mounted on the frame tubes that run underneath the engine. These need to be removed as well. Once the old engine oil had drained out of the motorcycle, I replaced the drain plugs with new sealing washers. I tightened the drain plug on the engine to 25 foot-pounds. And I tightened the smaller frame-mounted drain plugs to 17 foot-pounds.
The oil filter is just behind the exhaust on this motorcycle on the front lower part of the engine.
Once the drain plugs and new oil filter were in place, I used 3.4 quarts of a 10W40 motorcycle-specific oil. I then ran the bike for several minutes and I let it sit for several minutes, and I finalized my oil level with the dipstick that is located on the bottom side of the fill cap. The final system that we'll cover in this video is changing the oil in the final drive of the motorcycle. You want to make sure that the bike is on the center stand when you do this job. I use a 17mm wrench to remove the fill plug shown here, and then I remove the drain plug from the lower side of the housing. Once the old oil has drained fully, I reinstalled the drain plug with a new crush washer. I torqued the drain plug to about 8 foot-pounds. Then I filled the final drive with right around 4.9 ounces of this 8090 Lucas gear oil. And you know you're at the right level when the gear oil starts to run out of the fill plug. All right, as you can see, even though the Nighthawk is touted as a maintenance-free motorcycle, there are still plenty of maintenance items to check if you own one. As always, I hope you found this video entertaining and informative, and until next time, enjoy the ride.